Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly.
Hello, welcome to the webinar, Stop Applying for Jobs and Get Hired Instantly. Hi, I'm Peggy McKee. You should be seeing me up on your webcam. I wanted to come on and personally welcome you to this webinar. In a moment, I'll take my webcam down so that I can focus on the presentation, but we will have a live Q&A at the end of the webinar, and I will be up on live webcam to answer your questions. So hello and welcome to today's webinar, Stop Applying for Jobs and Get Hired Instantly. I am Peggy McKee. I'm a recruiter, a career coach, and the published author with books on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I'm the CEO of Career Confidential, and through Career Confidential, we have helped more than 17,000 people in over 90 countries get hired with aggressive go-getter tips. Now, we reach out to you through our materials on Amazon, Audible.com, apps that are on iTunes and the Google Play Store, our blog, website, and free webinars like this one today. Now, I'm going to share with you the very best information you'll ever hear about how to get a job, how to stop wasting your time applying for jobs that don't end and results with interviews and with offers, and instead find employers who are excited to speak with you. Now, I advise that you close out everything but this webinar, turn off your phone, turn off the Twitter, close out other browser windows, make sure you won't have any interruptions because we're going to cover a lot of information here. I'm going to teach and train you for about an hour. After that, I'll have a special offer for you. You'll still walk away with tips and strategies for a successful job search, but the additional training will be there for you if you should need it. After the presentation, we will do the live Q&A where I will come up on the live webcam. At the end of the presentation, I'm going to choose 10 lucky winners to receive a 1-hour free group coaching call with me where we'll deal with their individual situations and I can answer their specific questions. You must be present at the end of the webinar to win, and we will notify the winners by email. Now let me show you a little bit about this webinar platform, how to participate, ask questions, and get your free gifts. You can chat, and I see that we've got Ken and Michael and Shayla and Chris all over there in the chat area. You've got the polls tab, that's where we're going to ask you questions, and you can download your free gifts through the pop-ins tab. It's as easy as clicking on the appropriate tab. Now, if you do happen to hear multiple voices, it may be that your free gift is playing in another version or the webinar is playing more than one version. Check your browser tabs. That's the key to figuring that out. Now, here's your free gift. Just for attending my e-report, go over to the Pop-ins tab and you'll be able to download the How to Write Attention-Getting Cover Letters e-report. You just click on the Download Now button. It'll open up in another browser tab and you can look at it after the webinar is over. So to get started, I really want to ask you a question. I want to know how many of you have multiple interviews scheduled in the next 4 weeks. This is very, very important when you look at your job search, how many interviews you actually have, because interviews are the key leading indicator of an opportunity or a job offer. So if you go over to the polls tab, Carl Chapman, my partner, has just now put the poll in there for you. And the question is, do you have multiple interviews scheduled in the next 4 weeks? You can say, no, I do not have any interviews scheduled in the next 4 weeks. No, I only have one interview scheduled in the next 4 weeks. Or, yes, I have more than one interview scheduled. Be sure to hit the vote button, or otherwise we don't get your response. This is it is anonymous. We don't see your individual responses, but we do get the audience as a whole, the percentages. Now, there are 3 reasons why we see folks not getting the interviews that they should have. Their cover letter is just not strong enough. It's not compelling people to read the resume. Many of you, your resume is not strong enough. It's not communicating your value, and it's not representing you very well. Even if you're fantastic, your resume doesn't show it. And for most of you, you've been applying online, going through that online job application process, which goes right into human resources. HR is not where you need to be. So to get interviews, you need to be in front of the actual person who would be your boss or your boss's boss. This person is the hiring manager, and he or she is your ticket to getting hired. So let's go ahead, Carl, if you could give us the answers, tell us how many of the folks have more than one interview scheduled in the next 4 weeks, and then we'll get started with our webinar. Okay, so 66% do not have any interviews scheduled. 20% only have one interview scheduled. Only 14% have multiple interviews scheduled. So that means that 86% of you guys need a lot more interviews, because you need, on average, somewhere between 5 and 10 interviews to know that you're going to get an offer. Now, these are big issues for every job seeker, and they cause all kinds of pain, frustration, and rejection. But we're going to turn that frustration into success, and I'm going to show you how you can have a wildly successful job search. You can't get an interview without a good resume, a great resume, really. So we've got to make sure that each one of you have a killer resume. I'm going to show you how to find great jobs in your space, whatever space that is, and then how to get in front of the hiring manager for the job. Remember, the hiring manager is the person who would be your boss or your boss's boss. There's no point in getting an interview, by the way, if you're not going to crush it and get the offer. So we're going to talk about how you can be your best in every interview so that you crush it and get the offer. You're going to be head and shoulders above everyone else interviewing for that job. And this is all going to work together to give you the best advantage you can possibly have in your job search. You will not be like everyone else. You will know how to make things happen in the job search, and you will get hired. Now, most job seekers are spending a lot of time on Monster, CareerBuilder, or other online job boards, and they're looking for jobs all the time. And then once they find that job, they're spending 20 to 30 minutes filling out that long, intrusive, laborious application, and then waiting for them to call. This is the system. You don't want to buck it because you're scared they'll get mad and not hire you. But guess what? They're not hiring you already. This system is already not getting you hired. And I know you know this is true. You've filled out hundreds of those applications and not gotten one response, no phone call, no offer, nothing. So that time is wasted. So what's really happening is all that time that you're spending on your application is killing your actual chances of getting noticed and getting an interview. Albert Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting a different result. So don't be insane. Why does applying for jobs not work? When you apply for a job, you almost always apply online. What does that mean? Thousands of others have seen the same job, and your application is going straight into a database with those thousands of people. HR is going to look for someone who's perfect. If you're not perfect, you're not going to get pulled up. If you're not in front of the hiring manager, you're not in front of the person who can hire you, and you're not in front of the person who's most motivated to fill the job. There also happen to be the person who's familiar with the job and could see how your skill sets could transfer. So it's in your best interest to skip human resources and go straight to the hiring manager. I hope you noticed something here. Not one of the reasons I just gave you for how this was going on had anything to do with how well you do your job or what kind of an employee you are. It's the system that you're operating in. So don't worry if you've been doing this and having no success at all. Today is your lucky day. We're going to turn this around. There are 3 areas that I have to help you with in order to get this done. We must improve your resume so that it sells you. Then how you get interviews and exactly how many interviews you get, and then how well you do in those interviews. Now I'm going to jump right into the first thing and talk to you about your resume. The majority of folks do not have a good resume. Recently I had 250 people send me their resume. There were only 2 that didn't have key problems that would have held them back. So if you're like those folks, you have areas in your resume that can be improved. The resume is first and foremost a marketing document. You need to understand that. It's what the employer sees, and it's how they decide whether or not to call you for an interview. So it has to sell you. It has to market you. It needs to be like a brochure. You can't make things up, and you do have to put your previous jobs on there. But the key is, and this is very, very important, the key is in how you present that information. This is what's going to make the difference between whether this will be an ineffective job history or an effective marketing document. The 3 biggest mistakes that I see people make in their resume are they don't have objective statements, they don't use bullet points, and they don't quantify their accomplishments. If you have at least one of these mistakes on there, this is a big opportunity for you. First of all, objective statements. You'll find someone who will tell you that you shouldn't have an objective statement, but that advice is wrong, dead wrong. You need one. Because remember, you can't control who your resume goes to. If it goes to HR, do they know exactly what department to send it to? Because if they don't, you're sunk. The second thing is the objective statement tells the hiring manager how you're going to make their life easier. This is one of the reasons you need to sort of tailor it for each job. You're speaking to that person about that job and what you're going to do for them. It's also a fantastic place where you can insert keywords, and that's going to help you get pulled up in databases as well. The trick here is to try to find the keyword that the company uses. For instance, let's say that Lean, Six Sigma, continuous improvement. These are basically the same things, but one company will use one term a lot more than they'll use another. So that's the term that you want to use in your resume. If you don't have the exact experience, you can still say that you're seeking a position as X. X happens to be the job title and the keyword. This is going to help your resume rise in the databases. Now, your objective statement should sell you for the job. It's like a headline or an elevator pitch. Let's look at an effective one here. Accounting manager seeks a role that utilizes her industry experience and leadership skills. Now, I did this on purpose. I chose accounting so that you could see where you could put your function in there. I put industry instead of the exact industry. See, we could exchange that for medical or retail or consumer goods or whatever, right? And then I talk about leadership skills, and you could insert again something there that would speak to specifically to you. Now, your objective doesn't have to be just like this, but look, it will serve you well if it tells who you are, what you want, and highlights 1 or 2 of your best selling points. Summaries don't do this for you. You know, the summary is really just like a simple job history. It summarizes you. It doesn't sell you. Most folks skip summaries, go right to the work experience. So it does you no good to have one there. What's the next thing that kills your resume? Big paragraphs, big old paragraphs, a lack of bullet points. Bullet points are very important on your resume. They actually make it look physically more attractive, provides white space around your points, draws your eye down the page, makes it where you consume the resume easier. And you catch all of the information that you need in there. You could have the winning lottery number buried in a major paragraph. They're not going to read it. They're going to skip it, skim it, miss it, not call you. They're going to miss vital information they need to know. So that's why you need to put this into a bullet point format. They can easily take in what they need to know about you. Bullet points always communicate better than paragraphs. Each job that you should have a bullet point underneath it that talks about what you did in the job. Don't use responsible for. Bullet points should explain what you accomplished, not what you were responsible for. Say what you actually did. Use the action words. Here's some examples that I really like. Managed team, led campaign, organized project, improved efficiency, reduced turnover, won award. Whatever it is, describe it using an action word, very specific and achievement oriented. This is a powerful, energetic way to sell yourself. Now, bullet points are wonderful, but let me show you where the magic is. You need to add quantification of accomplishments. Now, they say people learn better when they are actively engaged. So I really need you to understand the concept of this quantification of your accomplishments. So I'd like to ask each one of you to write down the number, the dollar, and the % sign on your resume, on your piece of paper there. Maybe even say it out loud, numbers, dollars, and percentages, because this is a concept that will make a big difference in your entire career. This is the #1 place where people fail to make their resume shine, and it's the one thing that you can change that could make a world of difference in how your resume represents you. Now, you may think that you can only quantify your resume if you sold something, but that's simply not true. You can add numbers to describe almost anything. Direct reports, production numbers, project budgets, schedules, uh, number of projects, success rates of those projects, accuracy, rankings. They have rankings in, obviously, in sales, but they have it in customer support, service, engineering, even production, mean time between failures, things like that. There's a lot of rankings there. Sales, obviously, a great place to get numbers with revenue. Customer numbers, how big was the customer, how many units did the customer order, procedures that improved anything. Did you increase or decrease numbers? Did you save time? Did you increase efficiency? What did you improve? What did you contribute? Any way that you contributed to revenue, growth, or profit for the company can and should be described using numbers, dollars, and percentages. So I'm going to say, oh, I saw Charlene actually wrote in the numbers, dollars, and percentages on there. Way to go, Charlene. You're an active listener. Now, let me show you how powerful this is. I'm going to go ahead and ask Charity to put all of this. Perfect, she's already got it there for me. Okay, we used to bring these in one at a time, but for me, when I look at them as a whole, it's most impressive to me. On the left, we've got the typical, most people will put this on their resume, responsible for bringing in new clients, and on the right, brought in 20 new clients in 3 months. Much more powerful, much more specific. Numbers like these are incredibly impressive to hiring managers, and they sell you. Now, this brings me to a poll question, so I want you to go ahead and go over to your polls tab. I'm going to ask Carl to put in our question, and it is, if your resume grabbed the attention of the hiring manager, would you get more interviews? If your resume grabbed the attention of the hiring manager, would you get more interviews? Now, you can say, yes, I would, or no, I would not, and then click the vote button, and again, we'll get Carl to give us those results. Now, as a recruiter for over 15 years, I have candidates that I can guarantee an interview with one of my client companies because of my relationship with that company, right? But I still make the candidate go back, take out any big paragraphs, put in the bullet points, and then add numbers, dollars, and percentages. Why do I do this if I know I can get them an interview anyway, right? Seems like a waste of time, right? It's not. Because it sets a bias with the hiring manager, and it makes them think of the candidate more positively than they would have otherwise. And this brings them in an elevated position as they come into the interview. And this makes a big difference as you go through the whole interview process. And that's why you need to do everything you can to set the positive bias for yourself by doing these things. So Carl, can you give us the results of what the folks said? Do they think if their resume grabbed the attention of the hiring manager, they would get more interviews? 100% are saying, yes, I would, and you are so correct. That's fantastic. We got an A students here, right? So just to drill it home just a little bit more, I want you to look at candidate A and B here. A has a set of accomplishments. B, by the way, is good. Don't go there yet, Charity. B is going to look just like this, but no numbers, dollars, and percentages. Now, if you look at these two candidates here, we're looking at A, and there's B. Same exact accomplishments, one with numbers, one without. Who would you call for an interview? I can tell you, you're going to call the candidate with the numbers, and that's the way it's played out over hundreds of hiring managers that I've worked with for over 15 years, and quantifying your accomplishments is very much worth doing. Now, this brings me to a poll question where I want to ask you if you would like some specific training with resume templates that include these key elements, just like what we've just discussed, and my personal review of your resume to make sure that your resume is an interview magnet. You've got 3 choices. You can say, yes, I want a better resume that gets more interviews. No, I can do it on my own and do not need a review. Or, no, I'm getting all the interviews I need to get a job. Click the vote button, and again, we'll get Carl to give us those answers in just a moment. I review resumes from around the world. Most of our clients are in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Dubai, Nigeria, Spain, Italy, and Switzerland. More than 90 countries. And I don't speak all those languages. Some candidates will send me their translated resume to look at. But what I want you to know is all over the world, the job of the resume is the same, and that is to get you interviews. Hiring managers want candidates who quantify their accomplishments and show their value. So the job of the resume, doesn't matter where you're at, in whatever language, is to get you interviews. Carl, can you give us the results? What do the folks say? Would they like some specific training with the template, the key coaching, and the review. 76% would like that training. 19% think they can do it on their own, and 5% believe that they've already got the interviews that they need. Okay. So I'm going to tell you in just a few minutes how we can get that done, where I'll give you those templates and I'll actually review your resume so that you'll know that you have a resume that is actually representing you and selling you in this job search. Now, once your resume is whipped into shape, you want to make sure to get it to the person who sees it, the hiring manager. Now, this is not difficult to figure out. Think about the title of your previous or present boss. Your hiring manager's title will be the same or similar to the last boss. The hiring manager for an accountant would be a director of accounting, an accounting manager, a CFO. The hiring manager for a salesperson would be a regional sales manager, a national sales manager, a district sales manager, or the VP of sales and marketing. If you're in marketing, you might report to marketing, VP of marketing, director of marketing, possibly a senior product manager. An engineer could report to the director of engineering, a VP of R&D, maybe a division manager. Scientists could report to a principal investigator, a VP of R&D, or also a division manager. The IT guy could report to the director of IT, VP of technology, maybe to the IT person actually represents and reports to a specific division. When I was in medical diagnostics sales and management, we always had an IT guy that reported to our VP of sales and marketing, and he was responsible for supporting all of us and our needs. So it's very likely that the title of your hiring manager will be the same or similar to your last boss. So this makes it easy for you to determine who your hiring manager would be. If you don't get your resume to the hiring manager, you're not going to get any results. You'll start to think, what's wrong with me? But there's nothing wrong with you. Your problem is you're stuck in HR. You may have thought HR was there to pass folks along for them to interview and to hire. But remember I told you that they're looking for a perfect resume. Is yours perfect? Do you have exactly what they're looking for? The exact words, the exact experience. Could you do the job and do it well? If you can do the job well but you don't have exactly what HR is asking for, well then they're not going to help you. They'll be an obstacle for you. So to get past them, you have to go straight to the hiring manager. When you get your resume to the hiring manager, you get it in front of the person who understands the position best, who understands how your skills will transfer and translate, who's most motivated to fill the job because he's probably having to do the work, and he also, by the way, has the power to say yes. HR can't say yes, they can only say no. The most they can do is pass you along to the hiring manager. You don't need them as a gatekeeper, skip them, go directly to the hiring manager. So how do you find these hiring managers to contact? Hold on here, I got to get a drink. Well, the answer is research. You can Google them, look for them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Spoke, Zing, Jigsaw, corporate websites, association, directories, ask your network, anything you can do to dig up the name, email, possibly phone number of the hiring manager in your arena. It's not as easy as finding them on a job board, but you'll be far better off in the end. The key here is to find those hiring managers who might be your potential boss for you, right? And then contact them whether or not they have a job posted. I'm going to say this again. The key is to find the hiring managers who might be the potential boss for you and then contact them whether or not you have a job posted. Did you get that? Not relevant whether they have a job posted or not. I want you to contact them anyway. Why is that? Well, have you heard of the hidden job market? That's probably a good question we should always ask, is who here has heard of the hidden job market? Well, the hidden job market is important to understand. Somewhere between 50 to 80% of the jobs, we need to go to the next slide, are never ever posted. This means that there are at least twice as many jobs out there as you know about. But when you contact hiring managers, you're going to find those jobs and you're going to put yourself in front of the line because other job seekers just won't know about these. To crack the hidden job market, all you have to do is choose the hiring manager who could be your boss at places you'd like to work and then say, hey, here I am, this is what I could do, this is what I could do for you. Are you interested? This may seem bold and scary. The truth is, though, there's no better way for you to find all of those hidden jobs, and if you don't ask, you'll never know about them, and these jobs are fantastic. They're the best. So if you contact enough hiring managers, something even better starts to happen for you. You'll start winning the job search numbers game. And what's the job search numbers game? Well, it works like this. If you contact 20 hiring managers, you may hear back from 1 to 2 of them, 3 or 4 if you're lucky. Statistically, this is how it works. If you contact 200 hiring managers, guess what? You're going to hear back from 10 to 20 of them. Don't you think it would be better to speak to 20 hiring managers who are interested in you than just 2? These are the odds of finding the fantastic job that fits you and that you'll be happy with. So let's go over to the poll question, and I want to know how you feel about this. Do you agree that if you contacted 100 plus hiring managers, you would have more interviews? Got a couple different choices that you can choose here. I'm waiting just a second. I don't see the poll. Here we go. Okay, you can. The question is, if you contacted 100 hiring managers, would you have more interviews? You can choose, yes, I would, but I don't know how to find them. Yes, I would, but I don't know what to say to them. Yes, I would, but I do not know how to do either of the above. Yes, I would. No, I would not. Okay. Click the one that's appropriate for you. Hit the vote button. In a moment, we'll get Carl to give us those statistics about how you guys feel about that. Let me give you an example of how I did this with a personal client. I do personal one-on-one coaching with candidates from around the world. I'll go over. Oh, Carl's already put it in the pop-in for me. So if you go click on the pop-in button, you could click on the check it out button and learn more about that personal one-on-one coaching. But in this particular instance, I had a gentleman from Florida, a very aggressive sales guy. He'd been looking for a job very aggressively, and he'd only gotten one offer. He'd been looking for 4 months, so he was pretty, and he didn't even like that offer. It was for a mediocre position. So he came to me and he said he needed help. And when I asked him, I said, how many hiring managers do you actually think you got your information in front of? He said 10. I said, why do you think 10? He said, well, I interviewed with 5, so I know it went in front of 5, and I'm figuring probably another 5, but I guarantee I applied to 45 jobs, only 10 of them saw my information. All the rest of them just went into the black hole. So I asked him, I said, well, what would happen if we got you in front of 10 times as many hiring managers? And he's like, well, that's easy. Guess what? If I'd have got in front of 10 times as many managers, I'd have had 10 times the conversations, 10 times the interviews, and 10 times the offers. He'd have choices. He wouldn't have had to just hope that he would be chosen. So that's what I did. I coached him to get in front of hundreds of hiring managers because I wanted him to have an amazing job search with multiple offers and to get to choose the best one. And this is what he said. Peggy, I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know how. I can't believe this. What a difference this makes. It changes everything. So Carl, let's see what they think. What do they think? Do they think that if we contacted 100 plus hiring managers, they would have more offers, interviews, I guess is what we should say, but you're going to get offers, right? 15% are saying, yes, I would, but I don't know how to find them. Another 16%, yes, I would, but I'm not sure what to say to them. 34%, yes, but I'm not sure how to find them or what to say to them. Another 31% are saying yes, and 3% are saying no. So basically, 97% of you guys absolutely agree with me that if you'd contacted 100 plus hiring managers, you would have more interviews. So in this webinar alone, you've already learned how you can improve your resume and get more interviews, and then how you can get it in front of hiring managers. You know you're going to get more interviews there. But it does look like that you need some help understanding how to get in front of them and then what to say to them, and I'm going to help you with that. Now, this strategy of proactively contacting hiring managers by dozens or even hundreds is going to take you less time and get you way more interviews than all the weeks, months, and years you've spent filling out applications. I've personally seen this where candidates from all kinds of career fields with all levels of experience in all parts of the world go from no interviews to multiples of interviews when they approach it from this strategy. Now, this kind of effort is worth doing everything you can. Just think about this. What if you were able to shave just 4 weeks off of your job search? Just 1 month off of your job search using this strategy is worth so much to you. If you typically make $30,000 a year, you'll earn an additional $2,500 in 2014 by using this strategy and shaving 1 month or 4 weeks off your job search. If you earn $60,000 a year, this is an additional $5,000 you could put in your pocket just by shaving 1 month off of that search. And if you usually make $120,000 a year, well, this is an additional 10 grand that you and your family can enjoy in this year by simply cutting your job search by 1 month. Now, in reality, typical job search, 6 to 9 months, but when people use this strategy, they get a job in a month or 2 at most. So instead of just putting 1 month's worth of this pay in your pocket, you guys could put 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 months worth of pay in your pocket by cutting your job search by using this very effective strategy. This is worth you using every resource you can put your hands on and doing whatever you need to do, even if it's uncomfortable, because this is the way you get the job that you deserve and want. Now, when you get to those interviews, and you absolutely will when you improve your resume and when you contact hiring managers, you need to crush every one of those interviews. Once you get an interview, you can't fail to crush it. You've got to, in this environment, you can't afford to throw away even one interview. Crushing the interview requires that you answer the 4 critical concerns that every hiring manager has, clarify that you've communicated what you need to, and ask for the next step. These 2 things are communication issues, and good interviews come down to the quality of your communication. Let's hit the first one. The 4 critical concerns of every hiring manager. Do you understand the job? Can you do the job? Will you do the job? Will you pose a risk to his or her own continued employment? Now, these are risk assessment questions. Hiring you is a risk for the manager. The first 2 questions speak to knowledge, ability, and skill set. The third question, the will you do the job, that could be a work ethic or a focus question. You could have all the knowledge and ability, but if you're not willing to work hard, or if you can't focus, it won't matter. Will you pose a risk to his or her own continued employment? Basically, will you get me fired? This person's reputation is on the line when they hire someone. His or her own bosses need to know that you have the judgment to choose people who can get things done. If you can't get things done or you do them badly, the blame rests on them. Their own job is at risk. They aren't going to ask you these questions outright, but if you don't answer them to their satisfaction, they will not offer you the job. The very best way to address these concerns and to answer these questions is to bring a 30, 60, 90-day interview plan. The 30, 60, 90-day interview plan is a written outline of your tasks and goals for the first 3 months on the job. Every job has critical tasks that must be accomplished in order to be successful. A 30, 60, 90-day plan lists those tasks out, so the hiring manager knows that you know what those are. The first 30 days usually focus on training or learning the systems or culture. The next 30 days are getting more involved, doing things on your own. And the last 30 days are where you're starting to make a significant contribution to the company on your own. The more specific that you can be to the job or the company, the better off you are. For example, if you could name the name of the training that they put their employees through, or whether they use Oracle software or Salesforce.com CRM system, you can put that in the plan. You might have guessed by now that putting this plan together does take some time and research, and since you have to bring it to the interview, you have to do this before you even know that you have the job. But every single second of this effort is more than worth it because of the way that it impacts and impresses the hiring manager. See, it answers the 4 questions. It shows your understanding of the job, even if you've never done it before. You're talking about the tasks and critical things, that you can do the job. You're listing out specific tasks and how you'll handle those, and that you will do the job. Just by putting together this document, you've shown them that you're willing to do whatever it takes in order to be successful. You're someone who has energy, motivation, and willingness. And this speaks to your work ethic in the strongest, most powerful way. By putting together this plan, you eliminate every risk factor in the hiring manager's mind one by one. Listen to Derek's experience. Derek was out of work for 5 years. His wife had died and he had stayed home with his children for the last 5 years. So if you have a big gap in your employment, this might be what you need to listen to. So he goes and he's having a hard time getting interviews, and then even when he gets an interview to a job that he could have done with his eyes closed, it went dreadfully. So all he does is he gets the Career Confidential 30, 60, 90-day plan, takes that to his last interview. The manager says, "Best prepared candidate he'd ever seen. They would be mad to let me go." Now, they actually invited Derek back for an even more senior role. He prepared the plan again for that role, and he got that better job. So what do we learn from him? Well, he's interviewing for a job that he could have done with his eyes closed. Without the plan, he's not even getting an offer. Then he takes the plan to his next interview. Not only do they love him, they create a position for him. He absolutely gets the offer. But even better than that, he receives a job offer that's better than the one with greater responsibilities and more money than the one that he was even applying for. See, the plan shows that when you can communicate effectively with the hiring manager, what you'll do, and this tool helps you say, hey, I've thought a lot about how I can be successful in the job, so I put together this outline to talk it over with you. And as you go through the plan with them, you're going to ask them questions, they're going to give you input, you'll discuss that, and all of a sudden, see, your interview changes. It's not the same as all the other interviews they've had. You're not just answering the questions and hoping your answer is better than the last guy's. You're having a true conversation, building rapport, you and the hiring manager on the same team, tackling a mutual problem. And this shows them how you're going to be successful working for him. And this conversation helps him to visualize you working for him. It actually puts an image in his mind of you in his job or her job. And this is going to get you a very long ways toward the offer. Visualization is a powerful technique. Salespeople use it all the time. You know, when you go to buy a car, they don't really want to talk about it. They want to get you in the car. They want you to smell it, feel how powerful you are there. Now they're going to ask you what's important to you, whether it be style or gas mileage or functionality, and then they're going to talk up the points that matter to you. And when you discuss your plan with the hiring manager, you'll do the same thing. You're helping him or her to take you for a test drive, visualize and see you in the job and how that feels. So then that brings me to a question. So if we go over to the polls side again, I want to know if you brought a detailed, comprehensive 30, 60, 90-day plan to your interview, would you get more offers? If you brought a detailed 30, 60, 90-day plan to your interview, would you get more offers? Okay, we've got choices here. You can say yes, but I don't know how to put one together. Yes, but I don't know how to present the plan in the interview. Yes, I would, but I don't know how to do either of the above. Yes, and I'm bringing them to interviews already. Or no, I do not think the plan will work. Hit the vote button again, and in a moment we'll ask Carl for the results. I learned a lesson a long time ago about the value of these plans. I had a candidate that I was recruiting in Southern California going into an interview situation where I happened to know all of the candidates, and mine was the strongest. I thought I had this in the bag. But after the interview process, the hiring manager calls me and they're going to go with the competition. When I ask why, they said, well, her competition took a 30, 60, 90-day plan to the interview, and as she discussed it, we could see her in the job. See, look, listen to what he said. We could see her in the job. We could see what she would do, and we thought we could see her being successful there. So because she brought the plan, she was able to show her value. And this is why you must always take one of these plans to every one of your face-to-face interviews, because otherwise you run the risk of another candidate bringing a plan and out communicating you. You could lose the job actually to an inferior candidate because they're better able to communicate their value. So that's why you have to bring these plans. In my case, my gal lost the job because her competition brought the plan and was able to clearly show her value in the interview. Carl, can you give us the results? If they brought a detailed, comprehensive 30, 60, 90-day plan to interviews, would you get more offers? Now, we only have 2% that say no. So in totality, 98% of you say yes. And of the 98%, 11% are already bringing them. So congratulations to you. Way to go. The rest of them are split along the lines. They all believe it's powerful, but about a third of them not sure how to put it together, a third of them not sure how to present it, and another third of them who are saying, hey, not sure how to put it together or present it. I'll help you with those things. When you bring the plan, the hiring manager gets an up-close look at your critical thinking skills, your knowledge, your drive, your energy, your enthusiasm. You can't put this stuff on a resume, and yet it can truly impact whether or not you get the offer. The questions that you'll ask while you're discussing the plan will help you clarify that you're communicating what you need to communicate. I thought I would get this training. Is that right? I thought that if I tackled this first, it would make it easier to do X. Do you agree? Does this make sense? Would you like me to elaborate further? Am I on the same page as what you were thinking? Do I have this right? The answers that you'll get to this kind of question will give you big, giant clues as to what your hiring manager is interested in. And if they're interested in X, don't talk about Y, talk about X. That is so valuable, and that only comes out of this kind of conversation. And this is what makes your interview performance outstanding. And here's the very best question of all that you can ask when you bring a 30, 60, 90-day plan once you've presented it to the manager. You can say, Mr. Manager, if I were able to do all of the things that I've outlined here on this plan, do you agree that I would be wildly successful in this job? That question is a game changer. It boosts your chances of getting the offer by 30 to 40%. Because if they say yes, boom, you know you've done well in the interview. If they say no, you can say why not, and then you can address whatever objection they have. I've seen candidates save job offers they wouldn't have gotten by using this question. So I want to know from you, I've got another question for you. I want you to go over to polls again, and I'd like to know, would you like specific training on how to make that 30, 60, 90-day plan with a template that includes my coaching and then my personal review of your plan before you take it to an interview? You've got three choices. You can say yes, the training and review will make my plan much better. No, I can do it myself and do not need you to review the plan. Or no, I do not think 30, 60, 90-day plans will work. Click which one works for you, and then we'll get those answers from Carl in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide, Charity, and talk about the quality and construction of the plan. You see, this really matters. I've had people who come to me and they'll say, well, I took a plan and it didn't work. And my question to them is, did you take the Career Confidential plan? They'll say no. And then I say, okay, well, let me see your plan. Now, it usually goes one of two ways. The first plan, it'll be only like 25 lines, it'll be one page, and it actually probably hurt the candidate to bring it because it diminished how they saw the job, right? The other plan is the person will think they're putting together a plan, but it'll end up being like a 10-page book on why you should hire me, with pages of stuff that doesn't matter to the hiring manager because it's not focused on his common problem, right? Now, both of those are bad. In my opinion, you can't take the chance of going to an interview without the very best plan you can get your hands on, one that is proven to work with an expert to review to make sure that it's good before you step foot into the interview. Now, I review plans for job seekers just like we review resumes, and it makes a big difference. You know, sometimes you need to have someone look at what you're doing who has an outside perspective and some insider knowledge. A quick check by me could be what gets you the best job of your life. So, Carl, can you give us the results? How many folks would like this specific training on how to make a 30, 60, 90-day plan? And that would include the coaching, the templates, and my personal review of the finished plan. 88% are saying yes. 13%, so we have some rounding error there, but 13% are saying I can do it myself. But 0 are saying that it won't work, which is fantastic because it will absolutely work, and each and every one of you need to embrace this. I would never, ever go to a job interview without a good 30, 60, 90-day plan, because I've seen it too many times what they can do, and it's too big of a risk to go without one. Pete Carr was a gentleman that had 30 years of experience. He was getting a lot of interviews, but not getting the offer. When he took the plan, not only did they hire him, but they got him a higher level job than what he'd interviewed for. Jesse felt like the undefeated champion of the world. He also received a higher position with a higher salary. Derek, I told you about him. He was the gentleman who was out of work for 5 years. He's getting interviews, not doing so well. Takes the plan to the last one. They created a big position for him. We had a college graduate who had no experience, and his plan was actually adopted by the company as the standard training for those new hires. These plans are that impressive. They elevate your game. They elevate your interview conversation. They elevate you as a candidate. It will boost your negotiation power. You will get a higher salary, and this will affect your future raises and promotions forever. This one action right here will affect your financial future for the rest of your life. Job seekers from around the world in all kinds of career fields have used this plan. I won't name off all of these, but you can look through here and see if you see yours. But we've seen people with sales and operations and engineering, in pharmacy and marketing, finance, healthcare, retail, law, education. We even had someone get a job at Walt Disney World using this plan. There is no white-collar job this plan will not be an amazing resource for. We've seen it work at the level of the new grad, individual contributors, managers, executives, directors, and CEOs. No matter what field you're in, what level you're at, having a plan for success is going to help you show your value to the hiring manager, and then it'll make it an easy decision to hire you. And think about this. When a manager makes a choice about hiring someone, they don't want a coin toss or a tough decision. They want a very clear winner. So I want you to imagine that you and your twin are going to go interview for the same job. Now, when I say they're your twin, I mean in every way. They've got the same exact resume, the same experiences, the same education. You've worked at the same job. You've had the same accomplishments. You look just the same. You're carrying the same purse if you're a gal. You're wearing the same shoes. You're exactly like your twin. Okay? But you bring in a well-developed 30, 60, 90-day plan that displays your critical thinking skills, your knowledge, your drive, your energy, and your enthusiasm. Because of the research and the knowledge that you gained while you were putting the plan together, you and this hiring manager are very quickly in a deep conversation about this common problem that they have at the company. Now, when you finish your interview, by the way, you're able to ask the question of Mr. Manager, can you see me being successful in the role based on what I've just shown you in the plan? So you finish your interview, then comes in your twin. Imagine the difference. Your twin comes in, looks just like you, but no plan. Who do you think will be the most impressive candidate? And who do you think they're going to hire? Okay. To show the hiring manager that you're the clear winner, you must do these things that we've talked about here today. Turn your resume into a marketing document instead of a job history. Use the objective statements, the bullet points, and the quantification to grab their attention. Then stop applying for jobs. Go straight to hiring managers. And then answer the questions that the hiring manager has and communicate the most effectively you ever have in the interview by bringing a 30, 60, 90-day plan. Now, all of this is about how to sell yourself for the job. The job search is a sales process. You are the product for sale because you want someone to hire you. Your customer is the hiring manager. Your job is to show them your value and make them want to choose you. The normal process of applying for jobs keeps you from your customer. You can't make a sale if you're not talking to the person who can actually make the decision, and that is the hiring manager. This is a fundamental change to your job search, very different from probably what you've heard before. When a job seeker gets this concept and puts this strategy into place, they go from struggling, no interviews, very discouraged, to getting interviews they're excited about and offers that they love within weeks. Now, I told you I was going to give you a chance at some additional training, and here it is. Based on what you've learned here today, if you know that you need some additional help, I have tools and training that will help you get there quick. You do not have to get this additional training. You can try to put into place everything that we've talked about here today, but not everyone has the time to spare to figure this out. If you know you need help, you need to get that great job immediately, here's how. Remember how I told you 50 to 80% of the jobs aren't advertised? Those are hidden jobs. The only way to find these jobs is to go directly to hiring managers. It's an easy concept to understand. 100% of you guys totally believed that that was a way to get it done, but you didn't know how to find them or what to say to them. So we've put together a system called the Hidden Jobs Finder. It's a comprehensive, foolproof system that uncovers the hidden jobs and puts you at the front of the line. It helps you find and contact hundreds of hiring managers with clear, detailed, step-by-step instructions anyone can follow. It takes all the guesswork out of the process and keeps you from making mistakes. Thousands of job seekers have used this tool, and they tell me that it has helped them find great jobs they didn't even know existed. I personally developed this tool to help job seekers find and contact hundreds of hiring managers using LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, Google Boolean searches, telephone sourcing, and imaging. If you want a truly comprehensive job search that leaves no stone unturned, you can use all of these methods. Each one has an easy tutorial that goes with it. This is the easiest way possible for you to find the names and emails of all the hiring managers you need fast. I've taught this method of finding and contacting hiring managers for several years, and job seekers from career fields all over have come back to me saying the same things. I got 3 interviews in 3 weeks. Think about that. 86% of you guys do not have multiple interviews scheduled. What if you could get 3 interviews in 3 weeks? Another person told me, this helped me get more interviews than I'd gotten in a year of job searching. So let me show you a couple of these searches so that you can see how this works. Here's an IT sales manager on LinkedIn. I found more than 3,000 of them. When I looked for directors of operation, again on LinkedIn, I found over 1,000. I used a special Google search string to find accounting managers only in Washington, D.C. And then Google's great for getting very specific. In this search, I looked for regional sales managers in Chicago, only in medical. With a Boolean search, I could find that. And here's a great one. If you're an administrative assistant or office manager, I was looking for a VP of technology, found more than 3,000 of them and only in New Jersey. This one finds accounting managers in Dallas on Facebook so that I can contact them through there. But you could have used Google as well. Now these are easy to follow instructions. You get easy to follow instructions for what to say to them as well, because that was a concern. Many people just don't know what to say to them. So you get the phone scripts and dozens of sample email messages. Right now on the right-hand side, I'm showing you the message appendix that we have, over 30 pages of customized messages, and they're going to make you have fresh, energetic, positive selling messages in minutes, and it's going to improve all of your communications with hiring managers. Cover letters, emails, follow-ups, everything. You're going to sound so professional and polished throughout the hiring process. And with the Hidden Jobs Finder, you're never going to hit a dead end again in your job search. You'll be able to find all the hiring managers you need. And think about this. You can use this system today to find this new job, and then if in the future, let's say you need a new job because you get downsized, or you decide to relocate, or you just want to take some time off, or your company's unstable, you'll have the tool you need to find the new job then too. Think about what that's like, not just in this job search, but for the rest of your life. You see, when you buy one of our products, you own this product for life, and our upgrades are free to you. At any time we improve the product, you'll get the improved version automatically, and you'll have instant access to it from any internet computer, connected computer in the world. Anytime you want to find another job or grab an amazing opportunity, you'll know that you have the most up-to-date product to help you get that job. This is your ticket to career freedom. How much is career freedom worth for the rest of your life? I'm not sure. It's hard to look that far ahead, right? But let's just think about this. For today, how much would it be worth to know that you could easily find a job? The Hidden Jobs Finder guarantees you this freedom, and it's only $197. With the Hidden Jobs Finder at $197, you can have as many interviews as you want to go after. And because you're in this webinar here today, I've even got a better deal for you. If you invest in yourself and your career with the Hidden Jobs Finder before midnight Eastern Time today, I've got 3 additional bonuses absolutely free to make sure that you get the interview and you get the offer. I also want you to know that if you decide to purchase, there is no risk to you at all. We have a 100% money-back guarantee on all of our products. Let me tell you about these bonuses. They're very, very good. The first one is my Extreme Resume Makeover Kit. Remember I told you many of you don't have a resume that's selling you? Well, this will fix that. You'll have a perfect resume. You're going to stand out above the rest. And with the video coaching, the templates, and the examples, you're going to walk through the process and have a job-winning resume from start to finish very quickly. We can do this in about an hour. It's very quick, saves you a lot of time and frustration, and it's easy. And here's what's even better. I'll personally review your resume for you. When you're done, you'll email it to me and I'll go over it. I'll let you know if there's anything you need to improve. When you get it back, you'll know beyond a shadow of a doubt you have a strong resume that's marketing you. Now this kit normally sells for $74, but you get it for free with the template, the samples, and the coaching as bonus number 1. Now here's bonus number 2, my LinkedIn profile tutorial. Whether or not you have a LinkedIn profile at this point, if you're not getting calls from managers and recruiters, it's not working for you. This tutorial will help you make it where it's attractive and it sells you. Now we sell this on our website for $17 every day, but it will be a free second bonus with the Hidden Jobs Finder. Now if you get an interview, you're going to want to get an offer. And when I asked you guys if you thought that if you brought a detailed, comprehensive 30, 60, 90-day plan to the interview, would you get more offers? 98% said yes. So you need this plan, 30, 60, 90-day plan. So it's bonus number 3. You get the step-by-step how-to kit, how to use it in your interview, a plan that's proven to impress. You get a fill-in-the-blank template, sample plans, and a PowerPoint template that goes with it as well. So you'll have a plan that's proven to impress hiring managers, no mistakes. You'll be able to fill out the fill-in-the-blank template. You'll have it done in just an hour or 2. You've got the sample plans to look from. So all of this means you have the strongest, most impressive plan that you can ever do, much stronger than anything you could do on your own. And we normally sell that plan for $97 every month, but it will be bonus number 3 with the Hidden Jobs Finder for you. Now, just like the Extreme Resume Makeover Kit, you can send me your plan once you get it done, and I'll review it for you again and tell you if there's anything that you need to do differently before you go into the interview. Let's see what Patrice said about this. She said she was able to edge out other candidates with more experience. She felt that was priceless. And she also thought the skills extended outside of the interview and hiring process into other areas of her life. Now, I love that. Look at that. She was able to edge out candidates with more experience. And remember, we talked about Jesse. He said he felt like the undefeated champion of the world, and he was offered a position that was larger than the one that he was interviewing for, with benefits and an annual salary review. How good would it feel to feel like the undefeated champion of the world? Now, you may not have thought about investing in yourself in training for your job search, but you know that if you had a pest problem, you'd call an exterminator, and if you had a tax problem, you'd call an accountant. If you had a car problem, you'd get a mechanic to look at that as well. And it does cost to hire these professionals, but usually it either saves you or makes you bigger money down the road. The exterminator keeps the termites from destroying your home, the accountant keeps the IRS from your door, the mechanic keeps your car running. The Hidden Jobs Finder and the 3 bonuses are the same idea, but for your job search. You need an expert to help you look under the hood, solve this problem for you, and get you on the road to success, like Derek, like Patrice, like Jesse, and thousands of others who have used this tool. Now, you might think, Peggy, I'm not sure if I can afford $197, but I would say to you, I'm not sure that you can afford not to, because think about the 4-week piece. If using this strategy only helps you shave 4 weeks off your job search, you're going to put thousands of dollars back in your pocket. And remember that the typical job search is 6 to 9 months. So if you're able to shave 1, 2, 3, 4 months off your job search, you can put anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 back in your pocket. So a small investment in yourself now will pay off big financially and personally, just like it did when you got certifications or you went to college. This training will change your life. Now you can click on the link in the chat bar as well as in the pop-ins tab to get to this webinar special. It is available until midnight tonight. You get the Hidden Jobs Finder plus all 3 bonuses. This exclusive offer is only for those of you here on this call, and again, only till midnight Eastern Time. After that, the bonuses will be gone. So just to go over this again, you get the Hidden Jobs Finder. We normally sell that for $197 plus 3 additional bonuses. The Extreme Resume Makeover Kit, which we sell for $74. The LinkedIn Profile Tutorial, which we sell for $17. The 30-60 90-day plan, which is usually $97. If you went to our website and tried to purchase all of these separately, it would be $385. But until midnight Eastern Time tonight, it's only $197. That's the price, and that's available to you with the link that's on your screen and in your pop-ins. You've got it until midnight Eastern Time tonight. So, just for clarity, the Extreme Resume Makeover Kit, the Hidden Jobs Finder, my personal review of your resume, the LinkedIn Profile Tutorial, the 30-60 90-day plan, my personal review of your 30-60 90-day plan, all of this is 100% money-back guarantee. We guarantee all of it. It's a wonderful opportunity. You'll have all 4 tools and the bonuses today. No waiting, no shipping charges. It's electronically delivered. It's instantly accessible. You're given a login and password. You could be contacting hiring managers tomorrow. Now, if you know this is going to help you move toward your goal and get money in your pocket, you know you need a mechanic to look under the hood, go ahead and get out your credit card. We take MasterCard, Visa, and Discover. We're a completely secure website like doing business with Amazon.com. We do not share your information with anyone, so you don't have to worry about that. Click the Add to Cart button. It will take you to the page. You'll fill out your information, place the order, and you're done. After you submit the credit card information and it clears, we will send you an email, and in that email you'll have your exclusive username and password. Now, your tools will be in a membership section of the website. You'll log in there with the credentials, watch the instruction video, then you can browse through your tools and resources, watch the training videos, print out the templates, download the handouts. I think we need to be one more slide over. I set it up this way so that all of you would have access to your tools and training instantly from any internet-connected computer in the world, and you do not have to pay or wait for shipping, because if you can see how this is going to make a tremendous impact in your interview and in your job search, you don't want to wait. You don't want to have to pay or wait for shipping, so you can get your tools immediately here. So let's get you guys a job quick. All of this training does exactly what I'm telling you it will do. And there is no way for you to understand what a dramatic and powerful and positive difference this will make for you until you try it and you see. Now, remember, when we said at the beginning of the webinar there was going to be a chance to win a spot in a 10-person 1-hour group coaching call. Now is that time. If you're on the call, on here still at this point, we will randomly choose those 10 winners and send you an email. I'd like to congratulate the winners in advance and say that I'm looking forward to working with you. If you don't win or you're disappointed, I'll let you know again that you can get the personalized coaching time with me if you would like, and we can give you that link in the chat bar as well. Or you could join our Total Access Coaching Club, which is a great opportunity. Every 2 weeks we get on a live call. We answer every question from the folks that are in the call. Plus we do a short presentation on a job search relevant topic. And the best part of this is these are all recorded and archived and available for you in the Total Access Coaching Club. So if you see that, you really want to take advantage of it. It's a fantastic club. We get a lot of response from folks telling us that it made a big difference in helping them get through what's a difficult time, and that is the job search, right? So as I said in the beginning of the webinar, I'm going to take the live question and answer. I think it's time to do that unless Carl tells me there's something else that I've missed. So what I'm going to do is get a drink of water here and then come on live webcam and begin answering questions. Okay, here we go. You should be seeing me on the webcam. Hi everybody. Hello. How are you doing? Okay, it looks like we got a lot of questions here. Number one, what do you do if it's a recruiting company? Do you bypass them and go directly to the company? If you have an executive recruiter who's talking to you about a job in a company and they're interested in you, that is a great way to get an introduction if they are going to present you. Now, what you have to determine here is, are you a candidate who's a bluefin tuna? What do I mean by that? Well, if you're a candidate that has specific experiences, knowledge, you're still employed, or you have some talent that's very, very special that would make you attractive to an executive recruiter, then that's a fantastic way to go, and do not bypass them. But there are lots of companies and jobs out there that are not working with executive recruiters and are not posting their jobs, and you need to get directly in front of those hiring managers or you won't see those opportunities, okay? Okay, question number two. As an older candidate, I'm willing to be an independent contractor. Can I put an extra line in my objective statement that says available as staff member or independent contractor? You know, you could do that. It might work better in your cover letter, but what's more important is that you're selling yourself, that you're providing value in that resume that's making you attractive. Because they're probably not calling you because they don't want to have you as a full-time employee. They're probably not calling you because they don't see the value in your resume. So you need to get the Extreme Resume Makeover Kit. Make sure that your resume is selling you first before you do anything like that. By the way, if you can get on board as a full-time employee, that's going to be better for you benefits-wise and otherwise. So I hate to see you throw that away when I'm not sure that you need to. Number three, hey, what do you do if you get the resume to the person who actually does the hiring, and then they send you an email that you're gonna hear from HR? Is there still a way to go around the HR person? Should you continue to contact the person actually doing the hiring? Yes, you absolutely should. If you don't hear from HR, you should go back to the hiring manager and say, look, I haven't heard from them and I know that my skill sets are a fit for the job. Is there any way that we can go ahead and start that conversation? You always want to be starting and pushing those conversations forward. All right. Here's another question. When is a good time to introduce your 30, 60, 90-day plan for the interview? What is the opening that you're looking for? It's one of the reasons why you need to get the package, because you need to have that 30, 60, 90-day plan and go through the coaching, because I go through exact questions that they ask that are perfect for introducing your plan. I also go through how to discuss the plan, how to set it up so that it's going to have you in the manager in the right frame of mind. He's going to have the right expectations, and it's going to go fantastic. So that's what I go through that in my product. Okay, should you present the 30, 60, 90-day plan during an online virtual interview? And if so, how and when do you present it? I think it would be very difficult to present this in an online interview. And so I don't want you to do that in your initial online interview. Now let's say that you're one of those people that they're only going to do online interviews. Maybe you're a long ways off or a commuter or something like that. Once you get through that first online interview, you could say, look, I'd like to have a time to schedule for our next online interview, and I'd like to go over with you my plan of how I would approach the job. Look at all the things that you're going to demonstrate there. You're going to show your communication skills, you're going to show your resource understanding, your confidence in asking for another meeting, and then your abilities when you show the plan are going to be very, very powerful. So I think that is the best way to do that. Okay, I've got another question here. Had a great interview, small organization, used the plan. They said they were going to make the decision within weeks. Sent a thank you email, but now I can't reach him by phone and there's no response to my emails. I think the job is still open. What can I do? I think you need to call the hiring manager and leave a message and say, look, I can't tell whether you fill the position or not, but I know that I absolutely could exceed your expectations. Can I have a moment or two to come in and chat with you a little bit further about where you're at with the job and what you need to do? I can tell you that at times, as a recruiter, I've had managers kind of stall out, and they just need a little push to get it going, because it's all about, and I don't know, we'll have people on this webinar from around the world, and I use some strange Texas phrasing, but it really does go down to the squeaky wheel does get the grease. And so you could be the perfect candidate, but maybe that manager has got all kinds of things blowing up. Maybe he's even got a personal problem. His wife's asking for a divorce, or you know, some problem that is really taking up a lot of his bandwidth, if you will. By being the squeaky wheel and coming back into him and saying, look, I see that you haven't filled the position. You got
Peggy? Hey guys, I'm sorry. Peggy has seems to be a technical glitch at Peggy's office, and her sound has gone down for just a minute. Her team there will be working on that, and she'll be back up to be talking with us on the webinar.
There, Carl.
It is again. Okay, great. Thanks very much for your indulgence, guys.
Thank you, guys. I don't know what happens. The audio goes in and out. I didn't touch a thing. So what were we talking about? We were talking about the plan and this person, and I was giving you the squeaky wheel discussion. So maybe that manager just needs to prioritize this position above some other things, and he may need to actually do that. Maybe he's even struggling with that, and by you bringing it up, being available, pushing forward, obviously very professional and positive, you could be the reason why he could get this push forward and get it done. So I absolutely want you to call that person. Don't assume that the reason they're not calling you has anything to do with you. Most of the time, it has something to do with them. All right, someone said, how much time should you spend on the plan? I think for me, with our plan, with the template that you already have, I think you can complete it in 2 hours, maybe even a little bit less than that if you understand the job. If it's a completely foreign thing to you, maybe it would take a little bit longer. But that plan, putting that plan together, is going to teach you to think about the company, the job, and the interviewer in a way that you never have, and it will be worth every single second. It really elevates the whole conversation. It's very dramatic. Okay. Next question, K. Sania, I may be saying that wrong, right? In most cases, one can only use the information on the internet to create the plan. It's most likely going to turn out very generic. How do you deal with this? Well, it will turn out very generic if you don't know how to make it very specific and customized, and that's what we work very hard on in our templates to help you do. Just the thought process of what you'll need to do in the first 30 days and getting through that could take a long time if you're starting from scratch. With our system, you're able to very quickly go through there, pick out what fits, what doesn't, and you're on your way. Okay, Javier says, I work in IT. Everything is about keywords. We are used to be flexible, adaptable, and self-learners. However, in the job search, they expect us to be experts already, including on latest technologies, sometimes with even less than a year in the market on that technology. How can we show our real value and not just a bunch of keywords and say nothing about the real ability about the person? Javier, we have a lot of people in IT use this plan because it shows that thought process that you were talking about, and I know what you're talking about. There's all these things coming at you. You can't know them yet, but you have to have a process for evaluating them and then either integrating them or not integrating them, right? And we've seen that the 30, 60, 90-day plan really helps the IT personality. A lot of times the IT person doesn't communicate as well verbally. And so the 30, 60, 90-day plan is a fantastic, and I hate to use this word, but kind of a crutch for you to take to the interview because it elevates your communication abilities. So that's why it's exceptional and very, very helpful for this. Lisa says, if your interview lineup includes separate interviews with 4 to 6 people, do you present your plan to all of them? Lisa, you don't have to do that. What's important is that you present it to your specific hiring manager. That's the most important conversation. Now, it may turn out that in those conversations with 1 or 2 of the other ones, it makes sense to go ahead and show them the plan as well. But what's most important is that your hiring manager sees it, okay? Shelly says, what do you do when you get an interview with the hiring manager, excited about meeting you, and then you can tell there's age discrimination in play? So I'm guessing, Shelly, that you showed up for the interview, you knew that they were excited to meet you, and then you feel like when you walked in there was a cooling off, if you will, or a chill, if you will, something that made you think that age is an issue. So there's a couple things. One, I always like to have a very congruent marketing plan, right? So on my LinkedIn profile, I'm going to have an up-to-date photo so that it's not going to look like me 10 years ago. Obviously, on my resume, it's going to show my years of experience, so they're going to know I've got a lot of years of experience. And when I walk in the door, they're not going to see that as something unexpected. So do you have something like, do you have an old photo there? Was there a way for them to see you? Did you make some changes to your resume that might have hidden some of your years and age? And then the next thing to do, Shelly, with this kind of thing is you really need to get the Hidden Jobs Finder, because there will be people who will discriminate against you based on age. And you can get really angry about that. You could even try to sue them, but it's incredibly hard to prove. It's very, very expensive, and it's really negative, so it doesn't help you. What will help you is to get a great job. So if you will contact 100 hiring managers, right, those that would discriminate against you won't respond back. And so this is the very best way to get around any biases like that. The person who doesn't want to hire people with degrees, contact enough hiring managers. Someone there doesn't have a problem with you not having your degree. The person who's older, if you contact enough hiring managers, someone there won't have a problem with your experience, if you will, or your age. They won't see that as a negative. It might be a positive for them. So that's why you have to have this large group of hiring managers. Many of you will be pursuing like 10 jobs or 10 managers, and that's such a shame, because out of those 10 there may not even be a job behind every manager. Out of those 10 jobs they may not even be able to hire externally for all of those. So you don't have a statistically significant number for success. That's why you've got to use the Hidden Jobs Finder and contact hiring managers en masse. All right, we got another question here. I had a great interview. The hiring manager was talking about second interviews and starting work immediately, and then later he said I wasn't a good fit. I asked for feedback and all was positive. So something happened between when he said he was going to give you the second interview and he was talking about you in the job, and when you got to the part where he said you weren't a good fit. And one of the questions that I wanted you to ask him when he says this, when he says you're not a good fit for the job, right, is why not? You said I asked for feedback and it was all positive. You asked for feedback. You didn't say why am I not a good fit for the job. That's what I want to know, because without knowing that, we can't deal with the objection. Lisa says, are there different results in calling hiring managers versus emailing them or connecting via LinkedIn? What if you can't find a phone number? Lisa, there are different results. First of all, I don't want you to call a hiring manager directly until you've tried to touch them electronically, because that lays I guess a context. They've seen your resume. You can tell them to go look at your resume. I like that better. Obviously, if we can't do that, then I want to go with the phone call. As far as connecting with them on LinkedIn, you can't connect with people that you don't know, or it's very likely they'll hit the I don't know button, and it could get you banned on LinkedIn. We teach messaging, and we show you how to do that in LinkedIn. We also show you how to do that using their email addresses, and we give you specific training on how to find their email addresses even if you don't know it. So there's a lot of different ways to get in touch with them, but there is a difference, and the other thing is there's a big difference in the message. That's why the Hidden Jobs Finder is so important. Many of you do recognize it's not just a matter of finding the hiring manager, but it's a matter of communicating with them in such a way that's going to be positive, professional, and powerful. Some of you in your messages will sabotage yourself with weak language or a lot of generic writing that doesn't get to the point. And then you'll say, well, I contacted 100 plus hiring managers, and I'll say, well, but you didn't have effective message. That's why you need the Hidden Jobs Finder. Not only will you be able to find the managers, but you'll be able to communicate to them in such a way that's powerful, positive, and proven to get you offers. If you're in international development and your work project your work is project-based, how do you know who the hiring manager is and approaching him? Moreover, how would you develop a 30, 60, 90-day plan? Well, you would find the hiring manager by looking for the title of that person based on what you know about the titling of the people that you've done this kind of work for before. And as far as the plan goes, you'd need to understand what the problem was that you needed to help them solve, and then put the plan around that. We have another question here. How to write a cover letter when facing two scenarios. One, when there's no job posting, you send the cover letter with the CV, and fresh graduate in the job posting but don't have experience. How to make them realize in second paragraph of cover letter that you have desired skills. So the cover letter, again, that in the Hidden Jobs Finder, we put the 30 pages of those messages because, and you're a new grad, so it's expected that you would be a little uncomfortable with how to communicate. But I had a gal the other day, a CFO, call us, and she told us that the Hidden Job Finder messaging system had made the difference in her getting a job, because what the hiring folks had said to her was that her communication was the best they'd ever received from anyone at that level. And she said she used all of the Hidden Jobs Finder messages to communicate, so she knew that that was what had made the difference. So I would really encourage you to get this, because once you learn to communicate the way I'm going to show you in that Hidden Jobs Finder, you'll be able to do that for the rest of your career, and it's going to make a big difference for you overall. Okay, Shayla says, when you're new in the U.S., have experience relevant to the job that they've posted, but but how can you get the offer from the hiring manager? I was in a higher position in my country. Would they evaluate me as like in my own country? No, they might not, Shayla, and you might be someone who needs to go ahead and get a half hour, an hour of coaching with me so that I can see what you're trying to do, how you've been doing it, what your message looks like, and whether or not your resume is really selling you, because you could just be spinning your wheel.
Peggy, we lost your sound again. I'm not quite sure what happens. I think it's your Google Hangouts setting that you need to do. Guys, please bear with us as Peggy works on her little technical issue. You're not back yet, Peggy. So I'll let you know as soon as you come back. Guys.
There. I'm back now.
That's it.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what causes that, guys. If I could fix it, I certainly would. Okay, here's the next question. So, Shayla, I was telling you, I think that you need to get some specific time with me. I've got another question here. I get a lot of calls from interviews with folks that have an Indian accent, but nothing ever happens in terms of moving forward, even in exchange. Okay, what's happening here? Are they real or fake? You're getting phone calls from what's called BPOs, or business process outsourcing organizations in India. So what's happening is there's a company that's hired them to recruit for them, all right? And that's who's calling you, but that's not working for you, so I say you quit. This is also meaning that you're applying to positions where you're getting these kinds of calls, and if you'll go directly to hiring managers, you won't get these calls and you will get interviews. Okay. Javier says, and I think this is our last question, guys, and we're going to wrap up. Thank you, Peggy. I'd love to use the 30, 60, 90-day plan. However, I can't go over the phone conversation with recruiters and HR, and the recruiters don't give me information about the client, so how can I use the plan to help me here? Well, Javier, make sure that the recruiters are actually presenting you to the companies. If they are not, then you need to quit using recruiters, because they're not working for you, but they're taking up a lot of your time. I've got a gentleman right now that I'm coaching who's been in the job search for almost a year. He's been trying only to go through recruiters because that's what he's done in the past, but he's changed, see? He's got a big gap on his resume. He's changed out of his field. Recruiters can't place him, only they're not telling him that. They're spending a lot of time talking to him, and then they're never presenting him. So in his job search, we have cut off all communication to recruiters, and we're only going directly to hiring managers because they're going to just waste his time. He's not what I call a bluefin tuna. By the way, if you want to learn more about how to work with recruiters, you can go to our Amazon page, which is you just look Peggy McKee or Career Confidential up in Amazon, and we have a lot of great ebooks and e-reports there, and one is about effectively working with recruiters. Okay, I'm going to turn off my webcam here and go to the resources page here. Charity, if you can do that for me, and we'll go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much. Lots of great questions. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here on this webinar and to give us those great questions. Now, you've got the purchase link for the Hidden Jobs Finder in the chat and in the pop-ins tab. Give yourself an opportunity at an exciting job search, right? And then you've got, if you go to careerconfidential.com/training-webinars, you can see where our other webinars are coming up. If you want my personal coaching, contact my office. You can also call the office if you want to order the product over the phone. Here in the United States, you can call 800-691-2562. Outside the United States, 972-382-3139. And I did mention to you the Total Access Coaching Club. This is a fantastic club packed with hours, hundreds of hours of this kind of coaching, as well as the live Q&A every other week. So it's a fantastic way to help move you through your job search and have someone to talk to and move you through it as fast as possible. So you've got all the resources there. What's going to happen now is when I turn off the webinar, Carl is going to redirect you over to a page where you can learn more about the Hidden Jobs Finder and the bonuses that we have there. And I want to thank you. I see that Michelle and Mario and Javier have all written thank you notes and saying that the presentation was really helpful. Thank you for coming. I do appreciate it. Please share our information with others. This is how others can find out about us. We appreciate that as well. And give yourself a chance at a very exciting job search, very different than what you've done. You guys saw that it would make a difference if you contacted hiring managers. You said that you could see how adding to the resume the way that we did with the numbers and the dollars, the percentages and the objective and the bullet points, and then you knew that you were wasting time with those online applications, and you knew that you'd get more offers if you took a 30, 60, 90-day plan. So this is absolutely the way for you to get through your job search with an exciting outcome of a great job. So I'm going to wish you guys the very best of luck. Very best of luck. Thank you so much for coming. I've really appreciated it. I see Charlene, Tina, Margalo, Kirk. Thank you so much for the notes here. I'm going to click out of the webinar, and then, like I said, Carl's going to redirect you, and I do very much appreciate your time here today, guys. Bye.